Are you ready? Let's talk smack.
Hey, welcome to the next episode of Talk Smack with Mac. We're going to talk a little bit of UFC here. We have a really big UFC card coming up this weekend. UFC 254, Khabib versus Gaethje. This is huge, man. Khabib has been out of the octagon for over a year, so all of us fans are just itching to see this guy perform. He's absolutely dominated every single time he's gotten to the octagon. But yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute. If you appreciate, my podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. But I have my boy back on the podcast. I kind of feel like you're my UFC co-host, Liam from MMA Hardcore on Instagram, a dope ass page. Check it out. Liam, what's up, my guy?
What's up, Matt? Good to be back with you. See you again. You're doing great. Love your podcast, man.
Yes. And, we always have a good conversation. Your MMA well. I'm trying to just keep up with you every time we get together. But one fight that I want to bring up, it's the first fight on the prelim card, Sam Alvey. I've had Sam Alvey on my podcast, so it's pretty cool to see him in the octagon competing. He's a very nice guy. He's been around for a long time fighting in the UFC. He's 33-14, so the dude has been fighting a lot. I believe he actually has the record for the most fights in one calendar year.
Wow, really?
And
more than Cerrone? That's crazy.
Yeah, and he actually missed a fight that year. I think he was supposed to have like 7 or 8 fights in that 1 year. So he's a scrapper, man, and you would never know because Sam. He's smiling, Sam Alvey. He's always smiling in the octagon and out of the octagon. He's a great guy. I'm excited to see him fight. He's taking on, I'm going to butcher this name, Jung Da-un.
Why are the names so hard,
I don't know, man. Is there any fights on the prelim that you are excited for, that you're looking forward to watching?
Well, dude, I'm just checking out your guy, and you're right. He has been fighting in UFC for a long time. I think he made his debut in 2014. He's fought, I'm just trying to, Derek Brunson. Yeah, he's fought Derek Brunson. He's fought Nate
He has a win over Rashad Evans.
He's got a win over...
Yeah,
he's got a win over Rashid Evans. It's pretty cool, man. You had him in your podcast.
Yeah,
well.
Anybody that gets a win over Rashad Evans is a really good fighter because Rashad is a legend. So yeah, man, this guy, he's no joke. Don't get it twisted because he's on the prelims, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Alvey is for real. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing in the octagon.
Yeah, you're right. On the prelim card, I can see Alex Oliveira's on there. He's pretty exciting to watch. Stefan Struve, there's an old legend. I think tallest man in the UFC ever, standing at 7 foot. So he's always this.
You said that's who?
The skyscraper.
Who's
7 foot tall. Yeah.
Which guy? The guy that Alex is fighting?
2 seconds. Let me just quickly get this up. No, he's fighting a guy called, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Tal. I'm not even going to try. But yeah, he's fighting this dude. By the way, interesting fact about Stefan Struve, he actually has a win over UFC heavyweight champion Stipe. Yeah.
In their actual professional career, or was this like amateurs? Oh, wow.
In the UFC, they fought in, just trying to get it up. Yeah, they fought a while back. I'm trying to remember Stipe. Yeah, so he actually beat him in the second round by TKO, and that was in the UFC, and that was in round 2. So yeah, but that was a long time ago. They've both evolved as fighters since then. But yeah, interesting. Like I say, old legend. It'd be good to see him back in.
Sure. Well, let's jump to the main card. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights, including 2 for titles. It's gonna be a good day on Saturday, and there's an early start time. So, you over there in Scotland, I believe the prelims start at like 8.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited because that's usually we have to wait up until like 6 o'clock in the morning to watch the fights. I think the main card usually starts at around like 4 or 5 in the morning. So yeah, this is super exciting because I'll be able to just chill out Saturday night and watch it. And yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah. Well, you tell me, let's start with the bottom 3 fights. Out of the first 3 fights, who are you most excited for? And all of these people have very hard names, ladies and gentlemen. So give
Yeah, I'm gonna
yourself a little
go.
bit of a
I'm gonna
break.
go with the easiest name. I'm gonna go with the easiest name, which is Lauren Murphy. Always good to talk about the female fights.
Oh, they're
Let's have a
badass.
little look. Yeah, we were saying that the last time. Some of them are pretty crazy, like Amanda Nunes and like Holly Holm. Just having a wee look at her record and stuff. So she's got 13 wins, 4 losses, 8 knockouts. Yeah, she's quite interesting. I've heard her name being popping up a few times. She's she's got a 3 fight win streak just now, and I'm not able to get a lot of information about her opponent, but yeah, she should be interesting. Keep an eye out for that one, and to be on the main card as well. That's pretty cool.
Especially this main card. This isn't just any other main
No,
card. This is a Khabib title fight, the lightweight title, and then you have Robert Whittaker coming in fighting again for the middleweight title. So
for the middleweight.
it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, he's not fighting for the middleweight title because
No, was
Izzy's
it the
champion.
interim? The interim, yeah.
Is it for the interim?
I'm
Oh,
pretty
I think Izzy said, yeah, he's willing to fight Jared if he wins this fight. Yeah, so I mean, just as good, I guess.
yeah.
It'd be interesting
How
to
do
see
you
if he
how do
fights
you feel
Whittaker.
about the interim titles? Some fighters they hold on to it and appreciate it, while others just toss it on the ground and say, "Hey, man, fuck this. This isn't the real belt."
Yeah, like Justin Gaethje. I think it's really good for the fighters if they're getting pay-per-view money from being an interim champ. So it doesn't hurt to have that. It also is quite good if they're definitely guaranteed a shot at the title next if they have that belt, which sometimes it can happen, But yeah, I don't really feel it's necessary. I think number 2 should always kind of fight number 1, and it's just really, I think, good for fighters for the pay-per-view money if they get a certain cut and stuff like that. I'm always down for seeing fighters get paid a little bit of a higher wage.
So
So
do you kind of feel like the interim belt is just a marketing scheme to get people to watch it more?
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes it more interesting when there's a belt, especially if there's people that aren't really, like, say, hardcores. If they're not hardcore, and it's just a fight and it's not really for anything. But if they say, oh, it's for the interim lightweight belt and the winner will fight the champion, it gives it a bit more meaning behind it. So yeah, I think it's definitely a marketing ploy. You're right.
Yeah. And it's working. Like you said, definitely pay these guys more money. A lot of these guys, or most of these guys, do not get paid that much money. I just had the last podcast I dropped with Beast Boy Mike Davis. He explained a 10 for 10 and a 20 for 20, which is, when you're just getting into the UFC, a 10 for 10 is you get paid $10,000 a fight and you get paid $10,000 if you win. Now, your next contract would be you get paid $20,000 to fight, you get paid $20,000 to win. That's not shit, man, especially if you're only fighting once or twice per year. You're making, say, if you're on a 10 for 10, you're making 40 grand if you win both of those fights before taxes, before paying your team, before paying your management, before paying your gym. So that 40,000 is probably looking like 20,000. Nobody can live off of that.
Yeah, and then the sponsors that they don't get anymore because of the Reebok deal that they did, so they can't wear brands into the octagon now, which we're also making extra money on. Yeah, it's a tough game, man. It's definitely a tough game.
That's definitely a shout out to social media. A lot of these fighters are getting endorsements and advertisements on social media, and it's kind of feeding them in the meantime while they're chasing their dream and trying to make it into the UFC or trying to make it onto the main card and get that second and third contract. So yeah, man, a fighter's life is not what it's portrayed to be.
By Conor McGregor, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Or
Conor
Floyd
McGregor
Mayweather.
he fought Floyd Mayweather one fight, got $100 million, and then after that, it kind of seemed like Conor's interest in fighting in the UFC for compared to the Mayweather fight for like little kid money. Why get hurt and put my body on the line for pennies? But
Exactly, man.
it is what it is.
Tough.
Let's talk about this
Tough.
main card. We talked about Lauren Murphy. All right. After that, Phil Hawes is fighting Jacob Malkoun. Is that how you say that?
I'm going to say yes.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, Jacob is undefeated. He's 4-0. Phil Hawes is 8-2. Are you a fan of either of these fighters? Obviously not Jacob if we can't pronounce his name. But
Yeah, we can't.
Phil Hawes is a big dude, has a lot of heavy power in his punches. So this is going to be a good one. And if Jacob could win and keep his undefeated streak going, versus if Phil Hawes could get one more win, he could be be on a co-main event fight potentially in the future.
Exactly, man. Yeah, all it takes all it takes is a spectacular knockout to go viral. And there you go. You seen what happened a couple of weeks ago with that spinning back kick to the face.
Yes.
That was a moment.
Or
Knockout of the
Jorge
year.
Masvidal knee to the face against Ben Askren. That one knee put him from a journeyman to, hey, I'm going to be fighting for the title soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was literally that. And then he fought, was it Nate? And then fought for the title. So, you know, just shows you. And I'm still excited to see whoever he's going to fight next. You know, I'm hoping it's Colby.
Oh, man, I'm praying it's Kobe, because Kobe versus Jorge, two guys that will throw blows and scrap it out. And, you know, Kobe, he stops people in the octagon.
He's so good.
Yes, he could take you to the ground. He's more than willing to trade with you. And Masvidal, he's never been stopped in the UFC. He's always, every loss is by decision. So I don't see anybody knocking him out or submitting him. He's just a scrapper, man.
Yeah, Masvidal is so dangerous. Colby as well. The whole backstory that they used to train together and things. Colby's kind of persona, which is like the Trump thing. I'm sure everyone knows that. And now Masvidal is like meeting Trump, hitting videos on and stuff like that. I think they could sell it so well. And to be fair, it's a fight that we're all excited for, and it definitely makes sense in that division as well. Let's see it happen. You know, with Masvidal fighting for the title. Didn't work out too well. Colby's fought for the title, just kind of makes sense. Put them against each other. It's an interesting fight and definitely one for the fans.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's check out this heavyweight fight on the main card.
Okay.
Alexander Volkov is getting back in the octagon against Walt Harris.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun to watch. These big dudes, they come out there and they scrap. And when you're both 6'4" and 6'6", 250 pounds, a lot of the times when you land a clean shot, somebody's dropping.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm just having a wee look at Alexander Volkov's record. He's fought some of the tops in the heavyweight division. Roy Nelson, Stefan Struve, he's fought. Yeah, he beat Stefan Struve, third round TKO. He's fought Verdum. He's got a win over Verdum, KO. That was in the KO'd Verdum in the fourth round. Crazy. He lost to Derek Lewis. He beat Greg Hardy, and he's coming off a loss against Curtis Blades, but he's definitely not scared to fight. Yeah, decision as well. This guy's definitely not scared of anyone. You know, that record's crazy just from kind of the top 5-6 fights he's had. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Always good to see a heavyweight fight on the card as well. And he's fighting Walt Harris, who is also a great heavyweight. Let's have a little look. Yeah, he's coming off a loss against Alistair Overeem. But yeah, he's also had quite a lot of experience as a heavyweight as well. So yeah, that'll be a good fight, man. You might see a knockout with that one. Sometimes you do go the distance, but yeah, it's pretty exciting. Such a crazy card with the heavyweights, middleweight, lightweight, women's flyweight, light heavyweight. We've got kind of a lot of different weight categories getting thrown around, which is quite cool. There's only one lightweight fight on the whole card, apart from in the early prelims. So yeah, that's interesting.
The thing about this heavyweight division, I feel like there's 3 or 4 guys, and then there's a huge drop off. You know, you got Stipe, you got Jon Jones coming up, you got Francis Ngannou, and then am I missing anybody? Because I believe after those 3, because DC isn't fighting anymore, there's a bit of a drop off. You know, you got Curtis Blades, you got Derek Lewis, you got Who else? Who am I missing? That should be. Oh, Alistair Overeem. He's a legend in the sport. He should always be up there. So
Overeem, Verdum, Cain Velasquez. Yeah, but like you say, they're kind of it's hard now. I think one thing because Stipe is a champ just now. Um, I don't think he's gonna do another rematch against DC. I just
oh no,
don't,
and
don't
DC
think that would
definitely
happen.
not.
Jon Jones might because it's quite interesting to say beat the GOAT. That would be interesting, but I don't know. I don't know if Stipe fights again, to be honest. I feel like once Ngannou fights for the title, he'll definitely get it, and then that'll spark the heavyweight division again. Bring on the contenders. I think he'll fight pretty much everyone, including the division, and maybe even a super fight. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. That would be crazy to see. He always wanted to be a boxing champion, Ngannou, so it'd be interesting to see him cross over into boxing. I would watch that. Him versus Deontay Wilder. Yes,
Oh,
please.
that would be wild.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Two
man.
of the hardest punchers ever in the history of life getting
Dude,
in the
could you
ring
imagine?
together.
Could you imagine they both just throw a punch at the same time and both their hands just click together? It would just, the universe would explode. That would be crazy.
Dragon Ball Z type shit.
Yes.
All right, let's
Watch
get.
that.
There's meat and potatoes. Let's get to the potatoes. The co-main event: Robert Whittaker versus Jared. How do you say his last name? Cannonier.
Cannonier, yeah.
So Cannonier, he was one thing that's very interesting to me is that Cannonier was a heavyweight fighter, and he dropped 2 weight classes to middleweight. But he's keeping that power. He brought that power from heavyweight down to middleweight. And this dude, he looks like a freak of nature, to be honest with you. He's 13-4. That's a great record, especially coming down from heavyweight where there's anything can happen in the heavyweight division. But he's coming off a win. Let me see. He's coming off a win over Jack Hermanson. Damn, these hard names are killing me. But he also beat Anderson Silva too before that at middleweight. Man, being an Anderson Silva is no easy task. He's an absolute legend, and you could arguably say he's the greatest ever. So even in his later stages of his career, getting a victory over Anderson Silva is still a feat,
crazy.
A triumphant feat to be proud of.
Yeah,
but
that's for sure.
Cannonier, his last loss was against Dominic Reyes all the way back in 2018, May of 2018. So the guy's coming off a three fight win streak, and they're all KOs. So he's coming to throw blows and knock heads off. But Robert Whittaker, he has been knocked out before. He got knocked out against Izzy. He got knocked out against Wonderboy Stephen Thompson. So Robert Whittaker is, I'm not going to say prone to being knocked out, but his fighting style, that pressure, that coming forward, he's going to take some to give some. He could get knocked out, but at the same time, Robert Whittaker is a dog, man. He's such a great fighter.
Yeah, he's so skilled, and he always seems to get better every fight he's in. Looking at his record as well, absolutely crazy. Derek Brunson, Sousa, Romero again. Israel beats Darren Till. I actually thought he was gonna beat Israel, to be honest, when the fight was coming up, and then to see him get beaten in such a devastating fashion was really, really crazy and bizarre, So I think it's definitely lit a fire in him to get back to the title and stuff. It'll be a tough one. I feel like it's always tough for fighters to get a shot at the title, especially when the champ, the person that beats them, who becomes champ, it becomes such a star, because it's like the star never really wants to risk fighting someone they already beat, like Conor McGregor Aldo, or Conor McGregor like Alvarez. Like they're not gonna rematch. It's quite rare, because everyone just wants that legacy nowadays. And it's like, oh, I beat you. Who's next? It's like, I'd risk a defeat on someone I've already beaten. It's a tough one, man, So it's going to be a tough road for him to get back to the title. But for sure, I'd love to see him get redemption against Israel. And Israel Adesanya, and then see what happens, you know. But yeah, he's got a chance just now to put his name back in that pot. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, this is a big fight because both of these guys are, you know, if you take away the knockout loss for Whittaker against Israel Adesanya, he's been doing pretty good. He's not fighting often. He's usually fighting like once per year. But the one big thing that comes to my mind is that Robert Whittaker has 2 decision victories over Yoel Romero. Anybody that could spend that amount of time against somebody that dangerous,
Yeah.
I feel like he's not he has made adjustments from his earlier knockouts. You know, Izzy is just a different beast. So if you get knocked out by him, it's like, hey man, he's one of the best in the world. I get it. But it's like, how much better is Cannonier compared to Yoel Romero? And is Robert Whittaker going to be able to make adjustments and get that win? Because as you already mentioned before, I could see the winner of this fight going and fighting for the title again. Then with Izzy, it's like, is he going to move up? He's already swept through the middleweight division. What more does he have to prove in that division? Or does he take one more, the winner out of this fight, and then if he wins, moves on from then? So there's a lot going on with this fight.
There's so much going on as well with Izzy and Jon Jones and heavyweight as well. It's such a weird. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If Jon Jones fights for the title at heavyweight, also Ngannou floating around as well. I don't think Jon Jones fights Ngannou. I think Izzy and Jon Jones could take place. I don't think Izzy's going to fight Ngannou either. I don't think Ngannou's going to fight Stipe. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the heavyweight division and kind of how all that unfolds. But I definitely want to see Izzy versus Jon Jones. I feel like it's just they've been talking too much smack about each other to not fight. I just want to see it now, you know. Up at heavyweight as well would be crazy. If Jon Jones can beat Stipe, or if he gets his hands on that title and then Izzy goes up to take it off him, that would be very interesting.
So my issue, because obviously I've being a huge fan of MMA and UFC in general, I would absolutely love to see Jon Jones and Izzy fight. But my issue with that is Izzy is a middleweight fighter. He's going to have to put on a lot of weight to make I guess maybe a light heavyweight fight against Jon Jones. But Jon Jones just moved on from light heavyweight, and he's in the gym busting his ass, putting on muscle, trying to get bigger for heavyweight guys. It would not make sense for him to move back down and lose weight or find a catch weight with Izzy to fight him. You got to think of this as a logical sense. If you're in the gym and you're working out and you're putting on muscle, why would you be doing that just for you to, lose all of that muscle to lose weight to fight Izzy? I feel like Jon Jones doesn't have shit to prove.
It's not gonna happen soon. I don't think it's gonna happen soon. Jon Jones is gonna fight a heavyweight first, and then maybe next year or the year after and something. They're gonna build this. And it's interesting. Jon Jones isn't really interested in fighting. Like he says, he will fight Adesanya, but it's Adesanya. It's kind of like, I'll fight Jon Jones. I'll fight Jon Jones, but he won't fight Jon Jones anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it would be like a minimum of 2 years, just because the amount of work and stress that you would have to put on your body to gain that much weight or lose that much weight, it's just too much. I don't, as a professional athlete trying to be in their peak prime condition, I'm not seeing these guys, doing that right now.
And Jon Jones didn't get nothing to gain from it either. What, he's going to fight someone that's like a weight class below him, that's just kind of like a young version of him in a way, it's a champ, kind of got a bit of a buzz around him and stuff like that. Jon Jones already been there. He's built his legacy, and like, I'd rather see him go up, like get heavyweight, get the belt, and then it's like Adesanya, maybe he fights a couple more times. If he gets beat, then Jon Jones ain't gonna really care much. But it's an interesting fight. Jon goes up to heavyweight, and then they want to do a big money fight or something like that. They make it work and sell it. But Jones could fight Ngannou at heavyweight as well, and do pretty much the same thing. Exactly. I think a more exciting fight would be Jon Jones versus Ngannou than Jon Jones versus Israel Adesanya.
I 100% agree with you. Jon
For
Jones
sure.
has the ball in his hands. He's in full
Jon
control.
Jones versus Stipe, man. Come on.
Yeah,
That's
Jon Jones is the GOAT. He's making all the decisions of who he's fighting. You know, Dana White could kind of have a little bit of hand in that, but Jon Jones is the money maker. You know, everybody wants to see. He's choosing where he wants to go. If Izzy wants a piece of the GOAT, he better gain 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And that
Dude,
takes
yeah.
time. That takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
30 or 40 pounds of
Yeah.
athletic, lean, muscle competing. And then you have to
Gotta
see
get
how
used
that
to it as well, man. It takes a lot of your energy to and your
Yeah.
oxygen to feed the muscles during fights and stuff. I think
Yes.
George St. Pierre did it the best. You know, he took a long time building muscle, really, really slowly. Was able to like train and did it like that. And you get these fighters that are just putting on like say, 20 pounds of muscle, or it's different. You know, going up like that. You got to do it right. You got to do it strategically.
Perfect example is boxing. You know, there's boxers, they start in 120s or even 15, 117. And then you see by the end of their career, 10 years later, 15 years later, they're 160, 155. So it takes time. Like you want to do like 2 or 3, 4 pounds per year to be able to have your body adapt to that. Excuse me. And really still be in your peak performance. Putting on 20 or 30 pounds is just, you feel differently, slow and sluggish and tired, like
This
you're
is what
saying.
happened. Conor McGregor went up to 170 and gassed in 2 rounds. And he says, "Yeah, man, look at it, it's just swole up, and then put all that muscle on and just couldn't." Like you see him, Diaz just tired him out and he took him apart. That's
Mhm.
what happens.
All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We talked about the potatoes. Let's get to the meat. The heavyweight fight. Khabib back in the octagon against Justin Gaethje.
It's a heavyweight fight.
Oh shit! Lightweight fight. My bad. This is
Khabib
gonna be
and Gaethje.
badass. Khabib
Yeah.
is absolutely destroying every single person he gets in the octagon with. I gave him so much respect when he fought Conor because Conor is one of the best stand-up strikers in the UFC. Khabib stood up with Conor and dropped his ass. He
Yes,
doesn't
he did.
fear no man, and he is going to impose his will against anybody. But on the other end, Justin Gaethje, this dude is pardon my if anybody takes this the wrong way, but Justin Gaethje is dumb enough to win. Justin Gaethje is that guy that comes in, he's going to take blows, he's going to let you punch, he's going to let you fight, he's going to absorb all of that energy that you are trying to use to expose him and take him out. He's going to chop your leg down, try not to let you walk, and then Justin Gaethje could fucking throw hands. So, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think Khabib's going to win. I want Khabib to lose just for things to get a little weird, but I think he's gonna win. How do you feel about this fight? How do you see it going?
Dude, I'm so excited for this fight, you know, especially when you look at, when you talk about someone earning their way to title shot, you know, Justin Gaethje is a prime example of that. He's beat Edson Barbosa, fair enough, Donald Cerrone, but then stepping in fighting Tony Ferguson, which was a massive like opportunity for him. He took it, he won, and now he's fighting for the title. And this guy, he's fought everyone the UFC have gave him, Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, and every time he gives his all in the octagon. So I'm super excited to see him fighting for a title, and that he's earned his way to this opportunity through hard work and dedication. And how I think the fight's going to go, man, I definitely agree with what Brendan Schaub's saying about the fight. Whether Khabib can keep it on the ground and maul him like he does everyone, or if Justin Gaethje can get back to his feet. If Justin Gaethje can get back to his feet and strike with Khabib, man, it's going to be a tough night for Khabib. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are nothing but serious. I think if he lands 2 or 3 leg kicks, that changes the fight. His bones are so, like I think he said on Joe Rogan's podcast, he's got the most dense bones in the UFC, with solid bones. Can take a lot of punishment. He doesn't stop, and he has that mentality of either you break or I break. Let's see what happens. And he's also a fantastic wrestler as well. On Khabib's level, I'm not sure, but as long as he can get back up to his feet a few times and land a few kicks and stuff, it's going to be interesting. We all thought Tony was going to be the style that would beat Khabib, and Justin Gaethje absolutely annihilated Tony. So it just made me even more excited for this fight, and I can't wait to see it happen, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And going to Justin Gaethje, he's 22-2. His 2 losses against Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. The Eddie Alvarez fight, he was winning that fight, and then I believe he caught like a super knee out of nowhere, and he got knocked out.
These were fights where he's just thrown caution to the wind, and you can see it as well. He's just going for it. Whoever breaks, break. But I think his coach, he's got such an amazing coach. And I think they were able to talk him out of that kind of mindset of just kind of going for it like that and be a little bit more strategic. With what you're doing and step back. Sometimes it doesn't need to always be like that. You can use your skills as well as your will. So, I think he's going to do that a lot in this fight. And I'm interested to see his wrestling. If you look at Justin Gaethje, man, he's got amazing wrestling credentials. He's never used his wrestling in the UFC. Never.
I was going to say.
Even we don't know what it's like, so let's see. But he knows what Khabib's going to do. Khabib knows what he's going to bring, and you never know. Khabib might win by knockout. Gaethje might win by submission or anything like that. It's one of the things where you just don't know until you see them fight. And this one's brilliant. Like Dana White says, this is trending like mad. Billions of views around the world. Social media, people are saying it's going to be bigger than the Khabib Conor fight, which is insane. So
Dana White said that this fight card and this fight in particular is trending more on Monday than the Khabib and Conor fight was trending on Friday. So that's absolutely insane. That is generating that much type of energy and focus, and people are paying attention.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the UFC holding it down during the COVID outbreak. When no sports were going on, a lot of new fans, I believe, started watching these guys. And Justin Gaethje just put on an absolutely brilliant performance against Tony Ferguson. That was one of my favorite fights I've ever seen. Because he the punches landing and you could hear it. There's no fans. The interaction was absolutely amazing. And Tony Ferguson is a beast.
Oh, yeah.
He's
it broke my heart.
Monster.
It broke my heart for watching Tony take a beating like that, man. He's so tough. I was just like, oh man, he deserved to fight for the title so much. It's so unfair he didn't get his chance to do it, but he will. I know he will. And when he does, it's well deserved. Even coming off a loss against Justin Gaethje, there's still part of me that believes to just give that man a title shot. Everything he's done, fighting Justin Gaethje when you're next in line for like a title shot to risk. Yeah, I mean, I want to see Tony get that shot for sure. Because that was a tough fight to watch for him. I'm a big Tony fan, and everything he's been through and stuff like that. I don't think it's the end for Tony. We need to wait and see what happens. If Khabib wins, what better fight? I mean, I know there's talk of him fighting George St. Pierre, because if he beats Justin Gaethje in this fight, that makes him 29-0. 30-0 would be. I think that's kind of where he wants to get to, and just leave it. Maybe not. We'll wait and see. But for 30, that's a big one. George St. Pierre would be insane, but Tony Ferguson as well. Let's not leave him out. So I mean, who doesn't want to see Tony Ferguson, Khabib? They need to fight. It's meant.
Yeah, they do need to fight. I was gonna ask you hypotheticals on if Khabib wins, what happens next, and you kind of got to that already. The George St. Pierre thing is very interesting because George St. Pierre has been out of the octagon for a long time. We know that he still looks phenomenal. He's still training. He's still getting better. But the unknown is there. We don't know where GSP is at. But say Khabib wins, is that going to be enough to pull him back into fighting in the octagon for the UFC? And then what happens if GSP comes back and wins?
Dude, he's done it before. He's done it before. He left as the champion, and Dana White hates that when a fighter leaves as the champion. If he did it, after, I think it was Johnny Hendricks. He fought, and it was like a bit of a controversial one. And he said he needed some time away. I mean, crazy pressure. So he left and then came back, and he fought for the middleweight title. And I went, just kind of did the same thing. If he comes back again and does it in the lightweight division, man, it would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, if he does that, he's the GOAT, come on. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's insane.
If GSP, because right now my Mount Rushmore, the top 4 people of UFC history, it hurts, but I don't have GSP up there.
Well, and this is the thing, I don't understand why people don't have GSP up there. They have Jon Jones, who also has a loss on his record, who's also popped for
controversial
like
loss.
Steroids. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, it shouldn't really happened, but still, that's the rules. He's popped for like loads of like substance things. George St. Pierre, I think he has 2 losses or something. He's beat the guys that beat him. He's champ, 2 different divisions. If he was to come back and win at light heavyweight as well, I don't think. I mean, yeah, he's and you never pop for any steroids. Always fought, just I think
that's the thing with
up there, man.
Yeah, with GSP, he is probably 5 or 6 on my all-time best fighters. But if he, hypothetically speaking, Khabib beats Gaethje and then comes back and GSP beats Khabib, he is hands down the best fighter of all time in the UFC history. So that would be interesting. Let's jump to the other side. What if Gaethje wins? Then what?
Oh, Justin Gaethje wins, like you say, man, that's a massive spanner in the wrench, isn't it? It's like, who knows? No one's thinking about that, right? No one's thinking what happens if Justin Gaethje wins Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor has his hands full with Poirier coming up in January.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. I don't know. It'd be good to see them fight again, stuff for Dustin and the charity and stuff like that. I mean, I'd love that. And it does nothing for Conor, though. Nothing.
Conor has a lot of shit to prove. I 100% think
Dustin Poirier.
I think that Conor has a lot to prove. He's been away from the octagon for a while. He's coming off a win off of Cowboy, who is, I believe, 15th in the lightweight division. There's no beneficial gain for Conor of winning that fight. Conor's been gone. He hasn't proved shit. Just because you have the name and you could draw the crowd does not mean that you should fight for a title. When Khabib beat him and he was like, win 10 and fight me. I think 10 is much, but I think Conor needs to rip off like 3 or 4 wins before he should get a title fight.
I mean, if he comes back at 155 and beats Dustin Poirier, he could technically get the next shot at the title with his status and beating Dustin Poirier at 155. If it's at 170, which I've kind of been hearing it's going to be, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I don't think Conor's going to fight Dustin. Something tells me isn't going to fight him. Conor always seems to talk or get some kind of traction whenever there's a big fight happening. He'll release something like he's retiring, or he'll call out someone, or release some news, or be in the papers and stuff. This is just the same thing. Oh, he might fight Dustin Poirier. It's like, all right, they're gonna do it for charity and stuff. Yeah, I think if Justin Gaethje wins, man, like, who's next for Justin?
I think it would be
Tony Ferguson. He's beat Khabib. He could fight Dustin Poirier.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Poirier wins against Conor. Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy to have Gaethje versus Dustin. But yeah, I think if he got given the opportunity to fight Conor, he would definitely do it. And I think Conor would be up for that, because Conor's a striker and probably sees himself as more accurate and slick with good chance of winning and stuff. So that could be the fight to make. It's a very exciting time to be a UFC fan just now with all the mixture that's going on in this lightweight division. It's so cool.
I think if Justin wins, I feel like it would be an automatic rematch with Khabib. You have to give it to Khabib for the way he's been holding down that division. He's been sweeping through everybody. His rematch clause would automatically be triggered. So that's why I think that Poirier and McGregor will happen. And then say McGregor wins that. If Is Conor gonna wait for the rematch between Khabib and Gaethje? I would love to see him fight Dan Hooker. There's a few guys in that lightweight division is stacked. That's absolutely stacked, and there's a few guys I would like to see Conor fight. Conor versus Tony Ferguson, and then the winner of that, fights for the
This
title.
is the this is the thing about Connor, man. In terms of being lightweight and stuff like that, I don't know. I think he was the best at 145. He destroyed the division. I think a lot of that is just because of kind of being like a lot bigger though as well, and dropping all that weight and just kind of like that. I think that attributed a lot to it. You seen what happened when Max Holloway went up to fight. Was it Dustin Poirier? Was it Dustin Poirier or Max Holloway fought? I'm trying to remember now, but he went up and yeah, it just got destroyed. But I think Dustin Poirier was a 145er as well. But yeah, I don't really see Conor in the 155 mix. He fought Cowboy. I think that was 170. He fought who was it? Eddie Alvarez. It's kind of like he's definitely a champion material and stuff like that. And he did win. He beat Dos Anjos and stuff like that. But Conor's only had a couple fights at lightweight. You know what I'm saying? He's not beat Tony Ferguson. He's not beat Khabib. He's not beat like just the top contenders. He's not fought Justin Gaethje. It's tough to see him like to say like, oh, he's a great lightweight or anything like that. I'd say he's a featherweight like king for sure. But
Yeah.
in the other divisions, it's kind of, I don't really value stats much there, if that makes sense, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I 100% agree, and that's why I think that Conor has more to prove. At 155, he hasn't proved shit. He got destroyed by Khabib. He lost against Nate Diaz. Like, if you go back to his like last 4 fights, I believe he's 2-2. I feel like you shouldn't get a title fight if you're 2-2, and then one of those wins is against a guy that's barely even in the top 15.
I know, yeah. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart dude. Like I'd say, lightweight, at featherweight, yeah, absolute king. But in the other divisions, he's used that kind of status he has to get to where he's got to. But yeah, why wouldn't he? Makes sense. Yeah. And he's maybe fighting Manny Pacquiao soon, maybe. I mean, that's going to be crazy as well. It's kind of a spectacle, but
spectacle for sure. But I'm going to be, definitely glued to my seat watching it, though. I'm
be different.
Huge fan of boxing, huge fan of Manny Pacquiao, and to see him versus Conor in the clash of the brands would be really cool to watch.
Be so crazy. Like, I'm trying to think Manny Pacquiao, though. It's not like fighting Floyd Mayweather, where Floyd Mayweather is kind of more of a defensive fighter moving back. Manny Pacquiao would rip him like to the body. Have you seen the videos of him just doing so fast, man? You know,
and unorthodox.
Great boxer.
He throws punches from all different weird angles, and Manny Pacquiao is one of the best strikers in boxing history. Just maybe not power wise, but the angles that he can get and the way he slips punches and the way he puts his combos together is absolutely amazing. And even approaching 40 years old, Pacquiao is still Pacquiao, and he looks great.
Dude, yeah, and it'd be great to see him like raise money. He always gives from what I'm hearing stuff, he's quite charitable and stuff like that with money and stuff. So it'd be good to sort of see what happens with that. But yeah, man, it's great to be a fight fan just now and loads of stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, especially with the evolution of the UFC. 20 years ago, there was hardly any competition. There was a select few people, but now, like we're talking about the lightweight division, there's 15 guys in that division that are extremely talented. Like, come on now, Anthony Pettis is ranked 14 or 13. That's insane. He's such a crazy fighter, good fighter. So yeah, great time to be a fight fan. And let's sum this episode up. Give me your prediction for Khabib Gaethje. What round? How do you think it's going to end? What do you think?
I want Justin Gaethje to win so much, but something's telling me Khabib's just going to do what he does all the time, take it down, and ground and pound. I'd say Khabib by decision because I don't see Justin Gaethje giving up.
Okay. I'm going to take Khabib 4th round TKO ref stoppage because of ground and pound.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Actually, yeah, that seems like the logical thing to do, like the thing to say to bet on and stuff. Yeah, because there's only so much you'll take. You know what I'm saying? The referee, like I said, I don't think Justin Gaethje will give up. The referee will have to intervene. So that makes sense. Once we've seen enough, that makes sense. But man, I want Gaethje to keep it on the feet. I want him to get up. I want him to get up when he's getting taken down, and I want to see him land a few punches. Like, it's just, man, it's such an exciting fight, man. I'm so happy, and I'm so happy I don't have to stay up until 6 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a good time watching these fights, and during the fights, I might even slide in your DMs and say some crazy shit, and share some videos with you and whatnot. But no, Liam, it's always a pleasure having you on Talk Smack with Mac. I'm gonna get you a T-shirt because you gotta represent. You're such a loyal guy, and you get it. This is like your third or fourth time on the podcast talking UFC, talking MMA. So I'm definitely gonna get you a T-shirt in the next, I'll say 2 weeks to a month. I'm only as good as my supplier. When they get my shirts in and stuff, I'm gonna send one. But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget to check out Liam's Instagram page, MMA Hardcore. Such a badass page. They're posting all the best knockouts and highlights and all the controversial shit that you'd like to see and hear. Check them out. MMA Hardcore on Instagram. Liam, I really appreciate it.
Are you ready? Let's talk smack.